Hi, I am Madison from Love on the Spectrum.
I don't know if you know this, but we've been trying to plan this for a really long time. And I want to extend a congratulations.
I can't believe it.
Will you marry me?
Yes. I had no idea our families were hiding in the bushes.
Oh my gosh.
He tricked me this whole time.
He got you. Now show the ring. Let's see it.
Now I'm happy Love on the Spectrum reached out to me when they did.
What was that like for you when they reached out?
First reaction, my first instinct was, let's not do this.
I'm glad to be back, Kian.
Kian is an absolute genius how he has struck this balance between entertaining. It's funny,
I'll find my prince.
but it doesn't make fun.
Not if the glass slipper fits, but if the cowboy boot fits right.
I want to talk a little bit about when you found out about her diagnosis.
I was diagnosed in 1999 with what was called classic autism.
Okay.
I was also diagnosed with developmental delays.
How old were you then?
2 years old. My parents explain it to me as there's some stuff that's easy for you and some stuff that's harder for you. Autism's a journey, not a disorder. It's meant to make you, it is not meant to break you. And there's so many gifts that come along with autism.
Okay, I am so excited because the time has finally come. I have been waiting to do this episode and now to release this episode because I'm literally giddy to share it with you all. I've been trying to plan this episode for a very long time and it finally worked out because our guests ended up being out in LA and I was also here at the same time, so we made it work. But you guys know how much I love on the Spectrum. We have had Abby and her mom on, and that was such a special experience for me. And this week's guest is Madison Marilla and her dad, Brennan. Madison has become a fan favorite on Love on the Spectrum for her warmth, her honesty, and being just totally unapologetically herself. She's a neurodivergent creator who has been open about living with autism, ADHD, and OCD. And she uses her platform to show what that actually looks like day to day, both the challenges and the joy of it. Getting to sit down with Madison and her dad was such a treat because getting to hear how Madison has gone through life and what she's been through and what she's endured and how she's grown through her autism and her challenges. And it's just really cool to hear from Madison herself speak about what she's been through and how she feels and what makes her special. And it's so cool to see the joy that life brings her. Madison also opened up to me about being engaged to Tyler and just how sweet of a human he is and their relationship. And if she even thought she would ever get engaged and married and what this show has been able to bring to her life. And it's so sweet to hear the way she talks about Tyler and their relationship because they are truly such a special pair. And getting to hear from her dad as well, what it was like as a parent to having your kid be diagnosed with autism and what that was like for him and his wife to walk through with their child. And it is just so inspiring. Their relationship is so sweet. Her dad is such a joy and Madison brings such light. It was so special to just learn what makes her unique and what makes her her. She even made me a little bracelet after, which was so excited. I've literally had it on since. And I'm going to leave a link down below for you guys to check out all of her jewelry that she makes. She's such an advocate for autism awareness, and it's so special, everything that she's been doing, even before this show, dating back to junior high and high school. I know that y'all are going to just absolutely love Madison and her dad in this entire episode. And I'm just so excited to finally share it with you. Welcome to The Squeeze.
Thank you.
I am so excited to have you and your dad here today. I don't know if you know this, but we've been trying to plan this for a really long time. But we live so far apart.
Yes.
So.
But ironically, I grew up in Santa Rosa, California, ironically.
Oh, wow. If only you lived there, we could have done this sooner. But it's okay. Yes. It's finally happening.
Yes, California, Massachusetts, now Florida.
Oh, wow. Which one was your favorite?
I loved living in all three places.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yes.
Well, I'm excited to have you, and I want to extend a congratulations because you're engaged.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, show the ring. Let's see it. Oh my gosh. What color are those, the smaller stones next to it?
Yeah, they're rubies because my cowboy sweetheart Tyler, he knows red is my favorite color.
Oh, it is? Okay. Did he
Yes.
pick out the ring? Did you help him design it?
No, I did not. He did it all himself.
Oh, wow. Props to him.
Yes.
My husband needed help with mine. I'm not wearing mine right now, but he had a little help from me. So
Yes.
that's good for him. What was the proposal like? Can you tell me about it?
Yes. So it was exactly it was 1 year later on our anniversary, July 15th.
Okay.
And I didn't know what to expect. All I knew was it was going to be a surprise. The whole day was going to be a surprise.
Okay.
I had no idea what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the scene. And then when my parents and Tyler's parents, we were all having dinner at Tyler's house. And Tyler asked to pull my parents aside. And then they were talking for like over an hour.
Oh, wow.
I had no idea what this could be about. But then I figured out, looking back, on that day, he was probably asking them for their blessing.
Wow. That's
And that part
crazy.
got cut.
Okay. But it happened. He did.
It happened.
He did.
It was a really sweet
Yes.
moment.
Yes, both my
But
mom.
it didn't fit the
yes.
flow of the show. I think Kian wanted to leave the suspense until
Yeah.
the very
Yes.
end. So that
Yeah.
I think that it made sense to edit out. But Tyler was really, really sweet. We had a great conversation.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
maybe it'll make the outtakes one day.
Yes, he asked both my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
And so he's a great Christian Southern gentleman, which is one thing I love about him.
So special.
And we're both very strong in our faith. And then I remember that morning, like I woke up, I didn't even know what to expect, what was going on that day. And then I find out, like, Tyler's like, come back to Sunken Gardens 1 year later. And that's all I knew.
Yeah.
And then the Love on the Spectrum production drives me down there. Literally, did I know Tyler had Christmas in July planned on the wedding lawn, literally where we first met
Oh
and
my
first
gosh.
laid eyes on each other. And literally, did I know, like, we're literally talking on the wedding lawn, and I had no idea our families were hiding in the bushes this whole time.
Oh my gosh.
And then Tyler's like, oh, we were exchanging all these gifts to each other under the tree for our anniversary. Like, Tyler had given me gifts to remind us of like our early dates, Universal, line dancing, Sunken Gardens, the beach, all our early dates. And then I gave him homemade Zen buddies, homemade ornaments, homemade bracelets, like everything I make. And then I gave him a button up that had my business logo custom made on it. And then and then our day we met on it, July 15th, 2024.
Yeah.
And then literally Tyler's like, open the mailbox. And I'm like, what's in there? He's like, wait and see. Then I read the letter and I kept tearing up. And then he finally popped the question.
Wow. Were you just so surprised?
I was so surprised. And then looking back that night, like, he kind of was giving subtle clues throughout the season.
Oh, he was.
Like the Valentine's date, I kind of was thinking it would get popped because he's like, I have a major surprise for you. I kind of figured that could be it.
Yeah. Had you guys talked about getting engaged, or was this just a total surprise to you?
Like we'd spoken about it. Like, what does it mean to have a ring on your finger?
Yeah.
We'd spoken about it like here and there because we were spending so much time together. For 6 months, I was commuting back and forth from Plant City from my parents' house in Bradenton to Plant City
Yeah.
after I was displaced from the hurricane.
Oh, okay. What was that conversation like for you when he asked for your blessing?
First of all, it was really sweet. We had a nice on the show, in this season of the show, there was a dinner, kind of like a meet and greet with Tyler's parents. We had met them before. We had seen them a bunch of times, but this was the first time we'd kind of actually gone to their home and sat down with them, and we were talking about our children and how cool it was that they had gotten together and found each other. And anyway, we had a nice interaction. It was a lot of fun. And then as Jenny and I are leaving, Madison's mother, my wife Jenny, as we're leaving their house, Tyler kind of grabs us as we're walking out the door. And Tyler's father, Tim, had Madison distracted. How did he distract her?
So Tim had me going to the man cave, and he kept me in the man cave.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
they have a-
Tim tricked me into Tyler talking to my parents about their upcoming Alaska trip.
Oh my gosh.
He tricked me this whole time.
He got you. He got you.
Yes.
So Tyler,
Yes.
Tyler was really sweet, and he was very gentle. He's a very gentle person, and so I could kind of tell. I kind of had the vibe of what was coming. I could tell this time he wasn't going to ask if he could take her to Universal Studios, right? I knew
Right.
this time it was going to be the real question. And he asked if he could marry Madison, and I think Jenny and I had a nice conversation with him about why do you want to marry her? Do you feel like you're ready? Do you feel like the two of you are ready for marriage? You still have a lot of personal growth to do. You're still learning how to have a relationship. And the other question I had was about children. Are you guys aligned on this? Because Madison doesn't feel like she's going to be ready to have children, probably maybe ever.
Yeah.
And just kind of wanted to make sure that he understood that these are bigger issues. Going on dates and just having fun is one thing, and that's important. But some of these other bigger issues need to be discussed seriously before they actually get married.
Yeah.
And so we had a good conversation about that. And then we told him that we thought that he was a great fit for her, and that we were blessed to have him in our life, and that and for Madison to find him. And we said, we given you the green light, Tyler. And then we had an idea of when he wanted to bring her to Sunken Gardens, what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So typically when Madison films for the show, Sean or Kian or one of the folks on the production will actually go pick her up. Madison doesn't live with us. She lived with us temporarily because we were in temporary housing because our house got destroyed in Hurricane Helene.
So sorry.
Jenny and I live
and my apartment got destroyed in Milton.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We had quite a week
it.
with two of the biggest hurricanes in Florida history, and our house flooded on Anna Maria Island. So we had to live in a condo, and then Madison had to move out of the apartment in St. Petersburg where you see her in season 3.
Yeah.
So we were all kind of like crammed in there together, and so we we kind of had to Madison was brought over to Sunken Gardens by the production staff. So Jenny and I, it gave us an opportunity to kind of sneak over and kind of hide. And we kind of knew what was about to happen. So, and Tyler's parents did the same thing. We're all like hiding in the bushes and trying to see what was happening without ruining the surprise, because we didn't want them to see us.
Yeah.
And then we heard it happen. Yeah. I didn't see it happen until yesterday when I watched the show.
Oh my gosh.
And it was beautiful. I mean, it was very emotional to watch.
Yeah.
And I was so proud of them. But we kind of popped out of the bushes afterwards and gave them a big hug, and we were so proud of them.
It's a special moment. Did you ever think you would get engaged? Did you want to get married, or?
I never ever thought that, because before Love on the Spectrum, dating was not even on my radar.
Okay. Are you happy about it now?
Now I'm happy about it. Now I'm happy Love on the Spectrum reached out to me when they did.
Yeah. I think one thing I've really noticed is how much harder it is to stay consistent with eating well when life gets busy. Like, there are weeks where everything is scheduled out, I'm feeling on top of it, and then there are weeks where it's just nonstop. Between tapings, meetings, running around, errands, and suddenly cooking just doesn't happen. And that's usually when I notice the biggest difference in how I feel. That's why Tempo has been such a game changer for me. Tempo delivers fresh, chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals right to your door. Everything is already made, so all you have to do is heat it up. It takes about 2 minutes, which makes it really easy to stay on track even on those busier days. I think what I like most is that it takes away the decision-making. Each meal is perfectly portioned for lunch or dinner, so you're not trying to figure out what to eat or if you're getting something balanced. It's just there and ready. They have 20 new recipes every week made from nutrient-rich ingredients, so you're not eating the same thing over and over, which I feel like makes a huge difference. There are also options depending on what you're looking for, like higher protein meals, calorie-conscious options, or just something balanced, so it can meet you wherever you're at. And for a limited time, Tempo is offering our listeners 60% off your first box. Go to tempomeals.com/squeeze. That's tempomeals.com/squeeze for 60% off your first box. tempomeals.com/squeeze. Rules and restrictions may apply. I feel like one thing I've been thinking about more lately is how important it is to have steady energy throughout the day. Not just a quick boost, but something that actually helps you stay focused and present. I think we've all experienced that feeling of getting a burst of energy and then crashing a few hours later, which honestly just makes everything harder. That's why Spark Energy and Focus stands out. It's designed to support steady, controlled energy, which I feel like is what most of us are actually looking for, especially on busy days, before a workout, or even during that afternoon slump. It has 0 grams of sugar along with essential vitamins and nutrients that support energy and mental focus. So it feels like more than just a typical energy drink. I also like that it's something you can mix and customize depending on what you need, whether that's starting your day strong or just staying on track through a long afternoon. And overall, it just feels like a more intentional way to support your energy, especially when consistency and focus really matter. Spark Energy and Focus is offering 30% off and free shipping. Go to drinkspark.com and use code SQUEEZE at checkout. That's code SQUEEZE at drinkspark.com. This episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, our exclusive snack, hydration, and coffee sponsor. IQ Bar protein bars, IQ Mix hydration mixes, and IQ Joe mushroom coffees are the delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel you need to win your day. One thing that's always tricky during busy days is finding options that are quick but still feel like they're actually supporting your energy and focus. Because it's easy to just grab whatever's convenient, but not everything is going to keep you feeling your best throughout the day. That's why IQ Bar stands out. They have a range of options from protein bars to hydration mixes to mushroom coffees, so it's not just one thing, it's more of a full system depending on what you need in the moment. And I like that everything is made with clean, simple ingredients and is free from things like gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, and artificial additives. So it feels like a more thoughtful option compared to a lot of other typical grab-and-go choices. Their plant protein bars are a really solid snack option with protein, fiber, and no added sugar. And then the IQ Mix gives you a 0 sugar hydration option with electrolytes, which is great for staying refreshed during the day. With over 20,000 5-star reviews and counting, more people than ever are fueling their busy lifestyles with IQ Bar's brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. Their ultimate sampler pack includes all 3. And right now, IQ Bar is offering our podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products, including the ultimate sampler pack, plus free shipping. To get your 20% off, text SQUEEZE to 64,000. Text SQUEEZE to 64,000. That's SQUEEZE to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details. I feel like we've all had those moments when you're craving something sweet and you reach for one of those better for you freezer options and it just does not hit the same. Like you want something that actually tastes satisfying, not something where you're taking bites pretending it's good. That's where Yasso comes in because they are the real deal. The best of both worlds, delicious ice cream taste and better for you nutrition. Yasso took everything you love about ice cream and upgraded it with creamy frozen Greek yogurt. And they have so many options: bars, chocolate crunch bars, sandwiches, poppables. And Yasso just launched their new Spoonables, which each have around 400 calories and 19 grams of protein per container. They're all made with Greek yogurt and truly feel like a treat at the end of the day. The Spoonables come in 5 delicious flavors: chocolate chip cookie dough, cookies and cream, fudge brownie, mint chocolate chip, and coffee chocolate chip. I have been so obsessed with these because it's one of those things where you don't feel like you're compromising because it actually delivers on both taste and what you're looking for in a frozen treat. You can find new Yasso Spoonables at a grocery store near you. Now through April 30th, Yasso is giving away 40,001 of their new Spoonables. Head to yasso.com/squeeze to enter and upgrade your freezer. That's YASSO.com/squeeze to enter and find the full giveaway details, rules, and regulations. What was that like for you when they reached out? I mean, both of you can answer this question.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll let you go first, Madison.
Yes. So I was living in Massachusetts, and the show reached out to the Life program that I was a part of.
Okay.
But the timing wasn't right. And then a year later, I was living in Florida. They reached back out to me, but the timing was right, and I became a cast member.
Okay. Was that exciting to you? Were you nervous? Like, did
Yes.
you know had you watched the show, I guess?
I was a huge fan of seasons 1 and season 2, and I've even watched the Australian version. So I thought it would be very cool to be on the show, and it would open me up to dating.
Yeah.
Even when they reached out to me initially about season 2,
Okay.
I was opened up, especially watching Abby and David, because Abby and I are just very similar.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've
Like
had Abby on.
interest stems.
Yeah, you and Abby are similar. She sat in the exact chair as you.
Yes.
Just another similarity.
And we have the same interest in Disney.
Oh, you do? What's
Yes.
is Belle your favorite princess? Or who's...
Yes, Belle. Yes, Belle is my favorite.
Okay.
That's my favorite. One of my favorite Barbies right here.
I feel like you look like her.
I
With
do,
your brown
like,
hair.
with her brown hair and her green eyes, and I love to wear my hair like Belle quite a lot, half back with a bow or a flower.
It's so pretty.
She's my favorite.
I love that.
When I was little, it was Snow White.
That's a good choice. There's so many good choices.
Yes.
Mine's Rapunzel. I don't look anything. I look like Rapunzel after she got her hair cut.
Yes.
But what was that like for you when Netflix reached out?
Couldn't believe it at first. I mean, our entire family, we were huge fans of the show. I mean, we were watching the Australian version before the U.S. version ever happened. We loved Michael. I loved the guy that was into dinosaurs.
Yes, and Mark. And,
Oh yeah, Mark. I was
Maddie,
just. Oh yeah, we were just.
and Jodie Rogers.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I remember all their cast names. Then on the U.S. version, of course, Abby and Danny and James are now friends of mine, and Connor and Tanner, of course. They're Connor, Tanner, and Abby are three of my good friends.
That's awesome.
So we loved the show.
Yeah.
Big fans. When Madison was diagnosed many years ago, there was just nothing on autism.
Yeah.
And if there was a show like Love on the Spectrum out, it would have been amazing for us to watch that and just see what are the possibilities. I think the show gives people a lot of hope.
Yeah.
And you get to see what they're really like, and everyone's very, very different. So we were huge fans, and we had a lot of respect for the show. And I think we were super intrigued, and it was exciting. But I can tell you, my first reaction, my first instinct was, let's not do this.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if it would be good for Madison. I wasn't sure if I wanted us to put our family out there in the public eye like that, and wasn't sure about security. I mean, I wasn't sure if this was the right thing to do. Jenny was a little bit more, kind of level-headed about it. By the way, I got over that in about a day or 2 days after we really kind of thought about it. And I think we both agreed that, first of all, Madison wanted to do it. Yeah. First and foremost, we just never thought Madison would actually date someone. She never really showed a ton of interest. She wanted to go to dances in high school, and she had a couple of facilitated kind of dates, when she was in the Life program.
Yes.
But she didn't show a strong interest in dating. So but Madison's huge fans. She's a huge fan of shows like The Bachelor and all these dating shows. So I think she has learned, about dating and about relationships by watching all these shows.
Yeah.
And so we thought that first of all, maybe she'll find somebody on the show. Maybe this is the way she'll find somebody, because we kind of had resigned to the fact that she, might have guy friends, but she is never really going to be aggressively pursuing it.
Yeah.
And so we thought, first of all, maybe she'll find someone. Maybe they'll actually find someone with her. It'll be like amazing. Secondly, Madison has we just felt like this would give Madison a platform to be inspirational to other people on the spectrum and other families that have people on the spectrum.
Yeah.
That's really important to Madison. If you kind of look at some of the big accomplishments Madison's had in her life, it's always been about mentoring kids with autism or creating awareness. She created the Autism Awareness Club in her high school. And I think having a platform and being inspirational gives Madison a real sense of purpose.
Yeah.
And that's really, really important to her. And we thought maybe this will give Madison an opportunity to really feel great about herself. Maybe this is the reason. Maybe Madison has an opportunity now to educate others and to inspire others, to give others hope.
Yeah.
I think the other thing was, we, having watched the show and really studied it, without knowing Kian and his producers, I think we just felt like we could trust them.
I was just going to say, I'm sure, because there was already, the show had already been out. Like there was, some safety in regard to you've seen multiple seasons of this, how, Madison, how she would maybe fit into it and what that would look like. So I'm sure that, still I would have that same fear, but some, maybe that's why it only took you a day to get over that part of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, Kian is an absolute genius how he has struck this balance between, he has a show that's entertaining. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's really funny, but it doesn't make fun. You know, it's very sweet, but it's not like a sappy after school special.
No drama.
Yeah.
You know, it's educational without being boring. I mean, he's really struck a really nice balance in the way he casts and finds these amazing people to follow their journeys, and the way he shoots it, and the cinematography, everything about it, we just thought was really high quality, and we thought we could trust.
Yeah.
Before we even kind of knew who they were.
That was so well said. Everything you just said, I'm like, yes, that's why.
Yeah.
I think that's why people love the show so much. Like,
Yeah.
you know, me specifically, I don't have anyone in my family that has autism, but I'm so drawn to the show, and I love it so much because it is so endearing and it's so kind-hearted, and it is educational because I feel like I've learned so much just from watching the show.
Yeah. I mean, I think they have done more. This is, I would say if I had to change part of my answer from previously, I would say that this show has probably done more to help people accept and understand people on the spectrum than anything else that's ever been out there. I mean, when Madison was diagnosed, we had Rain Man was a point of reference. There was really nothing out there.
Yeah.
It was only 1 in 500 people were diagnosed back then, and like an ABA literally to be paid out of pocket now. Like ABA goes through insurance now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's a financial burden for a lot of people. Certainly us in the early days, but we just felt like, you know, this could be a net positive for her.
Yeah.
And maybe she'll help other people by being on the show. And so it's just been a blessing that she's been able to be a part of this, and also to strike such a chord with people.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about when you found out about her diagnosis. You kind of touched on it a little bit.
Yes. I was diagnosed in 1999 with what was called classic autism back then.
Okay.
And I was also diagnosed with developmental delays.
How old were you then?
2 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were some of the first signs that you were seeing that maybe made you question?
So Jenny, being the intuitive woman that she is, and reading probably the same book you're reading right now.
Yep.
What to expect when you're expecting,
Yes.
and then what you're expecting in the first year, or the, you know, she was monitoring her so closely, right? And you know, she felt like, oh, she's missing some speech, and she's, you know, missing some eye contact, and she's doing a lot of parallel play with children. Like she'll be on the floor with a child, but she was not playing. She's not interacting with the child. She's kind of just next to the child.
I see.
And of course, being the you know, the guy that I am, I'm like, come on. I think, look at her. She's beautiful. She's so sweet. She's adorable. Look at her. There's nothing wrong with her, you know. Yeah. And then, but Jenny noticed that, you know, maybe there's something off here. Maybe she's missing some speech.
Yeah.
And so when Madison was about 18 months, we got her into speech therapy. And after, I can't remember how many months it was, 3 or 4 months of speech therapy, the therapist said, you know, maybe you should consider taking her to the kind of the state, it was either the state or the county kind of developmental evaluation center, because she's showing some signs that she might be autistic. And again, that back then that term was like, not a lot of people knew what that meant. So we took her to the center, and you know, there was a team of psychologists and other healthcare professionals, and you know, we dropped Madison off, and they spent a couple of hours with her, and they came out at the end and said, you know, we think that Madison has some form of autism, and they handed us like a pamphlet. What is autism? We started doing a lot of research. We found, you know, a couple of doctors around the country that specialized in autism. Pretty amazing they were doing that back then.
Yeah.
We scheduled calls with them. We reached out to them. We just decided that for a while, I was in denial for a while.
Yeah.
And then there was kind of this period of devastation and disappointment. You know, you don't want your child to not be able to talk, or not to have, I mean, I just worried about her quality of life. You just want them to have friends, and, you know, to be in love, and to, you know, go to college, and, you know, all the things that you want, you know, for your child. And, you know, it's depressing to think that they may not be able to get that. And this is back, I say this in front of Madison because obviously there's a happy ending here.
Yeah.
and she's come so far. But back then, that's the way we felt. And I think most parents probably feel that way when they first get the diagnosis. So we kind of went from, kind of denial to devastation to just determination and acceptance.
Yeah.
But I think the best thing that we did was we found aides. We hired aides. Back then, the insurance didn't pay for it, so it was all out of pocket.
ABA therapy, speech therapy, OT.
Yeah, all of those things. And so, we tried a lot of things, but the therapy is where we started to see real progress.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about we had wonderful therapists, and we were living in Charlotte, North Carolina at the time. We had wonderful therapists there that got on the floor with her, and everybody just worked really hard. The amazing thing about Madison, what makes Madison so special, is Madison is really strong-willed, and she is really achievement-focused. She really wants to achieve things. She always had the greatest spirit, which really helped a lot, even when she was probably super confused about why am I doing this stuff. Then we moved to California. I had an opportunity career-wise to move to California, in Northern California, Sonoma County, Santa Rosa. And it was a great career move, but one of the main reasons why we did this is because at the time, North Carolina was a little bit behind in their services, but California was a little bit more advanced at the time. So when we moved to Santa Rosa, we were super lucky for Madison to be mainstreamed in the elementary school, and she had a one-on-one aide. She had one-on-one aides, and they're wonderful. She had wonderful aides and teachers and mentors that were super helpful for her. And so, from there, the journey began to really see if we could help Madison overcome a lot of these obstacles. And here she is today. Yeah.
Yes.
I've been wearing Lululemon for so many years. I was a dancer growing up, so I basically lived in activewear. And Lululemon was always one of those brands that I just kept going back to. So I always felt like I knew what to expect from them, but I recently tried something new from their spring collection, and it kind of surprised me in the best way. I've been wearing the Steady State Super Loft set, and honestly, it has become such a staple for me. I keep reaching for it. Built with the Super Loft fabric, it's soft on the outside, brushed fleece on the inside. The roomy and versatile cup makes it easy to layer over your workout set on the way to the gym or wear straight through your weekend. You guys know how much I love to be in a comfy sweat set. It truly is a make or break thing for me, and I feel like I've become a connoisseur of this type of style. And the Steady State Super Loft has truly been a go-to for me. I literally just wore it as my travel set on a flight, and there's no turning back now. I can't say I'm surprised because I have been wearing Lululemon for so long. I even think I might have some leggings that I even wore in high school still. That's how good of quality their material is. I wear Lululemon and you should too. Here's the thing you need to know. Lululemon does limited color runs, so when those new styles drop every Tuesday, they go fast. You don't want to wait. If it's not for you, Lululemon offers free returns, no risk. That's lululemon.com. New drops every Tuesday. Go now. Lately, I've been thinking about how easy it is to overthink workouts. Like what I should be doing, how long, and if it's even working. And honestly, it can take you out of the moment completely. That's why I love the Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. It kind of takes that mental load off and lets you just move. Peloton IQ provides intelligent strength coaching so you can stay in the moment. It actually learns how you train. It tracks your reps, your movement, and gives you real-time coaching so you're not constantly second-guessing yourself. You can show up, be present, and focus on how it feels. And I love how seamless it is. You can go from running on the Tread Plus to strength training with just a quick swivel of the screen. It doesn't interrupt your flow, it just keeps you going. It also builds personalized plans and recommends classes that actually match your energy, your mood, and what you need that day, which makes it feel way more personal and way less like a chore. Let yourself run, lift, fail, try, and go. Explore Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com. I've definitely had those moments where I'll do my makeup in the morning and it looks good at first, but by the end of the day, it somehow looks worse. Like heavier, cakier, almost like it's working against my skin instead of with it. And I think that's when I started paying more attention to what I was actually putting on my skin. That's how I discovered OG, which is a certified organic beauty brand that really performs like luxury makeup. And what stood out to me right away is how different their formulas are. Most makeup is mostly pigment and fillers, but OG's Crystal Contour Collection is actually made with nearly 90% skincare ingredients. Things like green coffee oil and elderberry extract, ingredients you normally see in high-end skincare, but they're built into your everyday makeup routine. And I also love that they're truly certified organic. I feel like clean beauty gets thrown around a lot, but it doesn't always mean much. OG is NSF certified organic, which is one of the most rigorous standards out there, so you actually know what you're getting. The routine itself is also really simple. It's 3 sticks: copper for warmth, rose quartz for a natural flush, and opal for the glow. And you can do your whole face in just a few minutes. It blends super easy, feels lightweight on your skin, and gives you that really natural skin-like finish. Like your face just looks more fresh and radiant, not covered up. If you're ready to raise your beauty standards, OG's got you covered. Go to og.com/Tay and use code TAY for 15% off. That's OGEE.com/Tay and enter code TAY to get 15% off.
How was it for you growing up? Did you feel that your brain maybe worked differently from others?
Yes. So I had no idea I was autistic until until the 4th grade.
Okay.
That was when I learned, like, my parents explained it to me as there's some stuff that's easy for you and some stuff that's harder for you. Mm-hmm. And it came with one word, and the one word is autism. And how they explained it to me is the fact that you're able to memorize how to say hello in 50 languages, know the whole entire Disney dictionary, know when American Girl dolls were released.
Yeah.
Know all the presidents in order. The fact that I was able to know all the states and capitals in kindergarten are my strengths. But back then, I was not very social. It was harder for me to make friends. It took me longer to ride a bike. It took me longer to tie my shoes. It took me longer to learn how to swim. And it all came with one word, and that one word was autism.
How was that for you growing up? Did you like doing your therapies, your OT, your speech therapy? Did you enjoy that, or would you get upset that you had to do that?
I would say, looking back, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Like, I've always enjoyed my social skills groups. Even when I was a teenager and a young adult, I really looked forward to it.
Do you feel like other kids at school treated you differently because of your autism? Or do you think they were pretty nice about it?
In elementary school, I was very accepted in elementary school because my aide, Megan, I'm so thankful for her because she constantly pushed me to hang around other kids. She would be like, you're at lunch, do you want to hang out, sit with these friends or these friends? At recess, do you want to play this game with these friends or this game with these friends? And she's like, who are we having over after school today? Like, she constantly pushed me to be around other kids, and that's part of why I'm so outgoing. But when I moved to Massachusetts from California in the 8th grade, I moved and no one understood me. So I had to deal with people bullying me. But then at the end of that school year, I was doing my quarterly current event for my U.S. history class. I sat down with my special ed teacher, Ms. Podreski, because she was helping me with it.
Okay.
And she said, Madison, here's one about autism awareness so you can educate your classmates.
Uh-huh.
And then I did that current event, and then every kid in the class raised their hand and had a question for me.
Oh, wow.
And then people started to apologize. In the following school year, I had my favorite mentor, Jess.
Okay.
And she told me these words: it's best to let yourself out, don't hold yourself in. And then from there on, I started to educate all my classmates and all my peers about autism, and everyone started apologizing. And that April, I did my first autism table in my high school, and then my peers wanted to join the cause, which led to me starting the Autism Awareness Club.
That's awesome. Did you have fun with that?
I really enjoyed doing the Autism Awareness Club. We would do jewelry sales, bake sales. We would do panels.
Yeah.
We would do information tables, car washes.
That's sweet.
Middle school's tough for anybody, right? But that was a tough time for her because when we moved back to the East Coast and we moved to, decided to move back there and live in New England, when we moved, we decided for her to repeat the grade. It was an opportunity to like repeat the grade. No one knows her. It's not, there's no stigma there. She's just gonna. She was a little bit older for her, or she was a bit young
Younger
for
dad,
her age
yes.
already, and then she had developmental delays, so it was a little bit of a double whammy. So she repeated, and it was a little bit of a rough experience at first. They were most kids were great. Okay, we're talking about a minority of kids.
Yeah.
And then when Madison started to self-advocate for herself, this is where Madison has a lot of really interesting self-awareness and strategies. And again, she's had wonderful people that have helped her along the way. But when Madison kind of had that speech to her classroom, was that the 7th grade, 8th grade?
That was end of 8th grade,
End
Mr.
of 8th grade,
Grassie's
yeah.
class.
Those kids, when she made a speech about autism awareness, it was Autism Awareness Month, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and she made that speech and she said, "Does anyone have any questions?" Every kid in the room raised their hand, and they were like, "Why do you do this?" Or "Why did what is it like?" And Madison just educated everybody. And after that, like every kid was sweet to her.
Yeah.
And then when she got to high school, she was like, "Well, that worked pretty good in middle school." And she got into high school and she started to continue to advocate for herself and started that club. And the kids were really great to her in that community.
Yeah.
And I think it gave her a lot of confidence then to go on and go to college.
Yeah.
And do the same thing there. And Madison just kind of finds a way to win people over,
Yeah.
with her spirit. And she's just so determined, and she's super friendly. And I think we were lucky to live in that community and to have those things happen.
For sure.
It's not that easy for everybody, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And I think even when I was growing up, there were kids that were around me when that I went to school with, and I was like, what's going on with this kid? What's
Yeah.
and
Yeah, 'cause you don't know.
Now when I look back, I go, gosh, that kid was probably on the spectrum.
Yeah.
That's what was going on. But back then you just didn't understand it.
For sure.
Thank God that, again, these days that there's way more awareness and way more acceptance. Again, going back to the show and being a part of the show, we just feel so blessed to be able to play a small role in that.
Yeah. For our lemon drops, that's what we call our listeners. For our lemon drops that are listening, could you maybe explain to them how your brain is a little different than mine?
Yes. As an autistic individual, I'm a black and white thinker, which means things are either one way or the other way.
Okay.
And also too, when I do things, it's like a switch goes off.
Okay.
When I'm doing things for the first time, it's like it goes from one extreme to the other.
Okay.
It's like before Love on the Spectrum happened, I had zero interest in dating.
Got it.
And then when Love on the Spectrum reaches out to me, all of a sudden I have an interest in dating. And then I'm dating, and then Tyler and I were like boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah, that's so true.
So it's like 0 to 100, like that.
Yeah. I know when Abby was on, we were talking about how she correlates numbers to colors and things like that.
That's David.
Oh, okay. David does that?
David is synesthesia, but I'm someone who tends to categorize things a lot and theme things a lot.
Okay.
That's how my brain works.
Okay. Could you give me an example of that?
Like, I also struggle with OCD.
Okay.
And for example, it's like if one thing is out of order, I get very upset.
Okay.
Like my jewelry has to be in a certain order. It's like I have it organized by color, I have it organized by theme. And then my dolls too, it's like my princess Barbies are all in a certain order by like the year the movie was released.
Wow.
Like Snow White 1937 all the way to Asha 2023.
And do you organize them all?
Yes, I do. And then all my other Barbies are like over here from like autistic Barbie to like Easter Barbie, Christmas Barbie.
Yeah.
And then my American Girl dolls, I'm like historical characters, girls of the year, holiday.
Growing up, was it hard for you to communicate sometimes? Even now, do you feel like it's hard for you to communicate what you're thinking sometimes?
When I was a kid, I struggled to get my words out a lot and would tantrum.
Okay. How do you feel now? Do you feel like you can communicate for yourself?
I feel like I do a much better job at it now.
Yeah. When you get overwhelmed, what helps you feel calm?
Helps me feel calm. Like I love to make jewelry. I love to sew. I love to draw and paint.
Okay.
I love to spend time with Tyler, spend time with my friends.
Yeah.
Volunteer in my church community.
Yeah.
I love love to play with my sensory toys. Like I love to watch Disney movies. I love to watch MTV.
MTV.
Yes, like I really got into MTV became a special interest of mine in the last year.
What do you watch on MTV?
80s, 90s, 2000s music videos all day. All day the 80s music videos, 90s music videos, 2000s music videos. I could just watch it all day.
we finally have the same 80 love of 80s music. It took me many, many years. It just happened organically. Like in the last year, Madison just found an interest in it. So, because Jenny and I grew up in the MTV era,
Yeah.
you know, so it's been fun for Madison sometimes, you know, I think sometimes you just find new interests that kind of surprise us.
I just feel like I find stuff like it's just one day, like for so long, all I knew was cartoons and kids shows and Disney movies and just everything was animated. And then I remember how nervous I was to watch my first adult movie with Tyler.
Okay.
I remember Tyler invited me to watch Reagan with him.
Okay.
And I remember I'm like, this is not a kid's movie. I'm not going to like it. But then my dad told me the day before, he said, you like history, you like presidents, so keep your mind open.
Yeah.
And then I went to the movie with Tyler and surprised myself.
Yeah.
And now I enjoy watching documentaries with him.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love documentaries. I love learning, so I love documentaries. Good.
Madison loves history.
That makes one. I haven't gotten into history. I changed elementary schools a lot as a kid, so I feel like I missed.
Yeah.
I didn't get a lot of good history.
I grew up in Virginia, Richmond, Virginia. And so my parents love to have Madison come.
Yes. I would start coming to their house every summer when I was 4 years old.
Yeah, and they would take her all over Virginia. Virginia has a lot of history.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the mother of presidents. There's 7 or 8 presidents from Virginia.
Like 8 presidents are from there. I've been to every Virginia president's home. Like they would take me for 2 weeks starting at age 4.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they would just geek out on presidents' homes and all kinds of
And
historical
sites
things.
like Jamestown, Williamsburg, D.C., Yorktown.
Exactly.
Like where the battles were.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I'm about to go to DC for the first time. I'm so excited.
Really? You've never been there? Oh my gosh.
I know.
You'll love it.
I know. And I love this. This is the thing. I never really learned history like in school, but I love going to historical things. Like I love a good tour of like something. Like I would love to go to Virginia and do all of those.
Do you like nature?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Madison's brother Parks is a big wildlife photographer.
Yes.
He's big into nature, and so am I. And we love going to the Museum of Natural History there.
Yes.
You'll love it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just fascinating.
That's on the
The
bucket
Museum
list
of
for me.
American History I love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot to do in the
I
mall
also love
there.
the Natural History Museum too.
Yeah. Question for both of you. What are some stigmas around autism? Like, what do you think people maybe have wrong about autism?
Yes. So one thing that's true is I am right-brained and on the autism spectrum. And from research, I read something when I was in college that 0.7 of the population are autistic and right-brained, which is very rare on the autism spectrum. I'm thankful to have that gift
Yeah.
because most of the autistic population is left-brained.
Oh, that's interesting.
It is, and I showed that to one of my favorite professors in college, and she's thankful that I had that gift.
Yeah.
It is interesting that, again, autistic people are all very different. I mean,
Yeah.
there are themes that are similar, but you hate to put them in any one box. Jenny and I always wondered, geez, should we get Madison into, things like coding or computer science or concert piano, just things where
I had no idea. You tried piano lessons with me, and I didn't really care for it.
Yeah,
I always wanted to do stuff that was with other kids. Like mom and dad signed me up for every extracurricular activity that was with other kids. Like you guys signed me up for gymnastics at my gym when I was 3 years old.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. And then horseback riding. And then one of my friends encouraged me to do Girl Scouts in the 2nd grade.
Okay.
And then I did dance, then I did theater, and then I did Special Olympics. Like I did track, then I joined the track team in middle school, and then I did Special Olympics track and bowling and Special Olympics soccer, Special Olympics basketball. Like plus I started jewelry making when I was 10 years old.
You've been busy.
And plus I was in every leadership program in high school. Plus I was in Best Buddies.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, to get back to your question, I'd like to circle back on that in a second, but to get back to your question, Madison is interesting because one of the stigmas is that if you're autistic, you can only do things like coding or we work with numbers and things like that. Again, many, I would say a lot of folks on the spectrum are incredibly talented in those areas. Madison, and we were told early on that autistic people didn't like to be social You know, they were isolated. They play by themselves. They, you know, sit in their room, play video games by themselves and things like that. And Madison's not like that. She's very different. She wants to be social. You know, at high school, what made her happy was to be accepted by these, you know, girls and wanted to sit with them in the cafeteria and go, you know, to the prom. And you know, she desired those things. And we were always told that that's not how autistic people feel.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the people that have been, a lot of the cast members on the show I think a lot of them want that. I think a lot of them desire that. I think that's changed some thinking. You know, but back to all of Madison's extracurricular activities. I think part of that was, first of all, she wanted to do those things.
Yeah.
But Jenny and I decided that, look, we're going to have accommodations for Madison, and we're gonna try to go at her pace, but we're just not going to settle for the fact that she's just going to be isolated, and she's not going to develop. Why can't she be in a normal Girl Scout? Why can't she just be in a regular Girl Scout troop, or you know, be on a sports team, or just do whatever she wants? Why can't she do those things? And she wanted to do those things, and we pushed her. Said, do whatever you want. She was literally signed up for everything. It's like Rushmore. You know, when he wanted to be in every club.
Yes.
But you know, I think it really helped Madison to, you know, explore a lot of these different activities and be around not just special needs kids, because she had some great programs with a lot of wonderful special needs kids, but she also wanted to be around neurotypical kids. I think that was really helpful for her, you know, to be around both. And, you know, and look at you now.
Look at you now. I love it.
Yes, I'm very thankful that my mom and dad signed me up for all these activities. Looking back, because it's part of the reason why I'm so social.
And you're so achieving, so I bet you loved it before
Yes.
you even knew that you liked achieving things.
Yes, and I'm looking back, like I was literally the top seller in my Girl Scout troop.
Yeah.
Not surprised.
Which was a fun fact.
Yeah. I have a couple questions for you to end.
Yes.
What is something that you haven't done yet but want to do?
I would love to get my jewelry sold in gift shops, and I would love to have a sensory-friendly clothing line and learn how to sew my own clothes.
Oh, wow.
I'd love to get my Zen buddies and Christmas ornaments in gift shops.
I feel like we can make that happen.
Yes.
Okay.
Madison and her brother have a business called Madizen.
Okay.
You want
Yes,
to tell her what
Madizen,
Madizen?
Madizen USA.com is the website.
Okay. Tell me about it.
Yes. So I started making jewelry at age 10, and I started selling my jewelry when I was 14 years old in the community, at our pool, at our park, at our rec center. And I would sell it at autism fundraisers and at school events and at craft fairs.
Okay.
I had a lot of behaviors at the time that I couldn't control. Mm-hmm. And then making jewelry was my way to release that energy, and to help me feel calm and at peace and tranquil and give me something to do with my hands.
Okay.
And Madizen is a play on words of it.
Yeah.
Got it.
The Zen.
Yes,
The Zen
the Zen-
part of her
the
name.
Zen part of it.
Yeah, yeah. You know, a couple of years ago, Madison, when she was living in Plymouth, Massachusetts, and we had just moved down here, and we were really experimenting with, can we live that far apart?
Like
and
that
she was
was-
part of this
yeah.
independent living program.
Yes.
Madison would you know, on her own initiative, she would actually go and she would find these art fairs, these, you know, craft shows and stuff. She would sign up for it. She would pay for the booth. Then she would get an Uber. The Uber would take her there, and she would set all the stuff up herself, and then she would sell it. And she would sell, you know, I don't know, would you sell $100, $200 of jewelry or something like that?
Yes.
But the Uber and the show and everything else would cost $500. I'm
Yeah.
like, Madison, this is not profitable. We got to do something about this. But now it's working out. Yeah.
Dang. That's so cool.
And then I continued to do the same thing in college, and then but all I really wanted was to have an online store. And then Love on the Spectrum gave me that platform, and then my brother Parks created my website from scratch and helps me do my content. He's been a very helpful and supportive business partner.
That's awesome.
They've got a successful business. Parks quit his job, and they do this full time now.
That's
And you know, it's and they're trying to expand, and they're trying to get into some of these areas and get into some brick and mortar stores. And so we're exploring those collaborations right now.
Yeah.
But I think for Jenny and I, you know, besides the fact that we're glad that our children are, you know, gainfully employed now,
Yeah.
by themselves.
For sure.
And they've gotten great support, and Madison donates money to a lot of charities from, the bracelets that they sell. But I think what's been a blessing for Jenny and I is that this has given Madison and Parks an opportunity to really become close. Because when they were growing up, there was a 3-year age gap. He's a boy, she's a girl. She has in her head that she can't be friends with her brother, and
we were always fighting over silly things like the TV in the bathroom.
Normal.
That's natural, right?
Yeah.
And they shared a bathroom,
and we'd
and
very different interests.
Yeah.
And we had very different friends.
Yeah.
So Parks has moved in with Madison, so they're roommates. You see that in the show. You'll see that in the first episode of season 4. They moved to Plant City in Florida, which is about between Tampa and Orlando, and they move in together, and they started this business together. And what's been so great about it is that they really have become close, and they really trust each other. And I think Parks probably understands Madison as well as we do now.
Yeah.
And they have a special bond, and that probably would not have happened had all of this stuff happened in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And so that's another part of the blessing of Madison being on the show. And when Jenny and I are not around anymore, we want Madison to have a family member that she trusts, that cares for her.
For sure.
So I think that's probably, honestly, it's probably the biggest blessing of all of this.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
My next question for you, Madison, is what's your favorite thing about yourself?
I would say my own unique sense of style, because if I never had autism, I never would have had my own unique sense of style.
That's a great answer. Next question is, what advice would you give other people about autism?
Autism is a journey, not a disorder. It's meant to make you. It is not meant to break you. And there's so many gifts that come along with autism. Because if I never had autism, I wouldn't know the whole entire Disney dictionary and the whole entire franchise. Like, I never would, not only just the characters, but the actors and actresses that played every Disney princess. I would never know the year the movies took place, settings of the movie, and the screenwriters.
Yeah.
And I also would not know every president in order. I also would not know how to say hello in 50 languages, nor be conversational in Spanish and French and German. I never would know all the states and capitals. I never would have my own unique sense of style.
Yeah.
I never would know how to make jewelry and sew and draw and paint very well as I do. And last but not least, I wouldn't have the amazing memory that I have and my attention to detail. For example, I remember hotel rooms we stayed in on vacations. I remember where I sat in an airplane, like the flight number, gate numbers, flight attendants, gate attendants. Like,
It's unbelievable.
I also remember names of people from Charter Oak Pool and Fountain Grove Pool from when I was a kid.
Yeah. So do you help your parents out when they can't find their car when you go shopping with them?
Yes, and I'll help my brother out.
Yeah.
She used to help me. She used to help us when we saw somebody coming, maybe from our town
That I knew because I knew everyone. I knew everyone.
Madison, quick! Who is this coming? Who is this coming? She's giving me the stats, like, and she's not. It's not just that's Mrs. So and So. She's
so
like,
good.
She's giving me the stats. The memory is unbelievable.
I love that. That's so cool.
She can remember anyone. She will remember everyone's name. Anyone she meets this week, she'll remember their name 20 years from now.
Yes, like even fans I have, like I remember like even fans that I have like that I've seen like more than once. Like I remember like when I've met them and their names.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Okay, last question I have for you is what makes you feel proud?
Being on Love on the Spectrum and finding my cowboy sweetheart.
That is a perfect answer to end on. Well, thank you both so much for coming. Madison, we'll leave a link down below to Madizen so people can go shop your bracelets and your jewelry.
Thank you to the Taylor Lautner Squared.